Ladies and gentlemen, hold your breath, clutch your pearls, and maybe mute your grandma's iPad because what just leaked is not for the faint of heart. In a move that has sent shockwaves through hip-hop fandom, relationship blogs, and even group chats that haven't been active since 2018, Remy Ma did the unthinkable. We're talking about a recently surfaced, jaw-dropping interview in which Remy, calm as ever, unbothered, and sipping what looks like green tea, looked directly into the camera and said, "I stayed loyal." But let's face it, the man was never made to please me, so excuse me, did Remy Ma just publicly humiliate Papoose? The internet is in flames. Twitter's down threads are shaking, and fans are spiraling because this isn't just pillow talk. This is a career-shattering confession that comes with a full-body cringe and secondhand heartbreak. We're not talking about vague shade or cryptic lyrics. This was direct, personal, and brutally specific. Now, people are asking whether the black love fairy tale was a lie from the beginning, whether Papoose knew, and most importantly, keys. Why its public destruction and baby Remy brought the wrecking ball herself. You want to know the truth? I was loyal, yes, but let's not act like I was happy. There's a difference between loving someone and being fulfilled. And honestly, I was never fulfilled, not emotionally or physically. The man simply didn't measure. Up, the studio went silent, and you could hear producers stop breathing somewhere in the back of someone's head. On the other side of the room, across from a host with a script and a smile, until it took a nosedive into complete chaos somewhere, between a question about personal development and another about the music industry. That line, "he didn't measure up," felt like a slap, a jab, and an uppercut all rolled into one. When it was posted online, the backlash was immediate. This wasn't just a messy breakup confession. It was public emasculation, and fans couldn't believe it for years. While other couples broke up, cheated, unfollowed, and then pretended to be hacked on social media, Remy and Papoose stood firm through Remy's prison bid, career comebacks, and industry drama. We believed that they were untouchable because now that fairy tale is being torn apart and the pages are soaked in Shade's interview, which was purportedly recorded for an unreleased documentary and leaked via a burner account late last night. Initially caused people to believe it was artificial intelligence, AI. However, after verified sources confirmed the authenticity of the footage, the internet went crazy. Within an hour, #Remy said too much was trending #1 nationwide, with some fans defending her honesty and others dragging her for filth. Poor Papoose didn't even have time to blink before the memes began to fly. One TikTok shoutcast a montage of his most romantic moments rapping about her during bet ciphers, holding her down for 6 years while she served time set to melancholy piano music. The caption said, "He came up short." Brutal. But let's go back a moment because the cracks were always there. For example, at last year's red carpet event, Remy avoided a kiss from Papoose, claiming she didn't want to smear her lipstick. Fans noticed the tension in her body language, the way she flinched slightly when he reached for her hand back. But we dismissed it, saying they were just having a bad night. However, it turns out that night might have been a sign of a much deeper disconnect. For at least 2 years, a former assistant even claimed that she would return from events with ease and be in a completely different mood, laughing as if she had finally let out a breath. Yes, Easy, the block captain, is involved in this mess too, because as soon as his name surfaced, fans began piecing together the details, as if they were creating a conspiracy board. In the leaked interview, Easy shouted out queens who still crave kings in battle footage that went viral. At the time, people thought it was clever wordplay. But now it reads like coded messages to a woman who has already left her marriage. And the hosts of that leaked interview have gone dark. There are no tweets or posts, just a mysterious message on their page that says, "Y'all weren't supposed to hear that yet, yet." Does that mean there's more footage, more confessions, and more savage truth bombs? Sources close to production say absolutely yes. It appears that the full interview includes even more personal revelations, from unhealed trauma to secret therapy sessions to one moment where Remy reportedly breaks down in tears, saying she tried to stay faithful to a man who never made her feel like a woman. We don't know if that segment will ever be released, but if it does, it will be the last straw. Meanwhile, Papoose hasn't said a word. His Instagram is frozen. And his team has rejected all he was blindsided and humiliated by the leak, according to an insider. The source continued, he discovered the same thing we all did when he woke up and checked his phone and everyone was laughing at his suffering. To be honest, that's the part that hurts the most, because even if the relationship had ended and Remy was unhappy, why say that? Why go on record and reduce a man's entire legacy to measurements? Some call it liberating, others call it cruel. In any case, the internet couldn't stop watching a popular YouTube channel that even hosted a live stream called Remys Savage. Confession, real talk, or public castration. The comments were unhinged. In the midst of all of this, easy the block. Captain posted a single tweet that read, "Only weak men fear strong women telling their truth without names or tags." But we knew exactly what and who he was talking about. As if that wasn't enough, leaked direct messages now suggest that Remy may have consulted a publicist before the interview, asking how to control the narrative and reset the brand. Others responded, "Y'all protect men's egos more than women's. Truth, let her speak." Add a calculated PR bombing to remove the wife E-label and reintroduce Remy as a free, unfiltered, and unapologetic force. And honestly, if that's the case, it worked because, like it or not, she's the only thing people are talking about. However, before you start writing think pieces or taking sides, keep in mind that this disaster is just getting started, because just when we thought the worst had been said, a second part of the interview leaked. And in that clip, Remy questioned Papoose's entire purpose in her life. If fans thought Ree's previous remarks were cold, this one was glacial. She doesn't just discuss physical dissatisfaction. She delves deeply into the emotional fallout, and it's not just a jab at Papoose anymore. It's an emotional autopsy of their entire marriage, delivered with the composure of someone reading back old diary entries. She claims in the clip that I mistook loyalty for love, and the truth is that I felt more alone next to him than I did in a prison cell. Again, that silence has taken on a life of its own in this developing drama, because it's not just what Remy is saying also how she says it, no anger or regret, just plain clinical honesty. Remy doesn't hold back when he asks her what she means by herself. I would go to shows, do interviews, win awards, and come home to a man who didn't know how to hold me, not physically, not emotionally. Like I was carrying our entire relationship in a suitcase while he held the door open and said, "Good job." She adds that there were times when she pleaded for intimacy, not just in bed, but in conversation and connection, but all she got, she says, was surface level. Twitter was ablaze with quotes, reactions, and heartbreak after he publicly declared his love for me, but it turned out to be a one-sided narrative. One of the trending posts read, "Remy didn't just close the door on her marriage. She blew up the whole house and rebuilt on a new foundation. And in the rubble, Papoose is silent again." His absence is now louder than any public statement could ever be, but that didn't stop the internet from trying to speak on his behalf. Fan pages began sharing archived footage of their relationship. In his wedding interviews, he referred to her as his queen, and in his old tweets from when she was imprisoned, he claimed that their love was genuine. However, this love has now been transformed into tragedy, content, and meme material. 1. Such meme went viral overnight and features Papoose in his trademark fitted cap, gazing up at the sky, with the caption, "Did 6 years wait for her just to find out I never touched her soul?" Indeed, but this is the internet, and when the drama reaches this level, the memes write themselves. Meanwhile, stories began to circulate, and an unnamed source close to the pair stated that this wasn't the first time Remy had threatened to go public. Report as fans continued to analyze the interview, one shocking revelation surfaced. Remy allegedly wrote a memoir while Papoose was planning their vow renewal. And according to insiders, there are pages describing her emotional affair with another. Man, the internet is convinced that man is easy, even though neither of them has confirmed a relationship. The source claimed that she had explosive arguments behind closed doors and warned him to stop living off my loyalty because she felt trapped in the image of a perfect wife even when she was emotionally spent and spiritually disconnected. Sometimes the real love story starts after the fairy tale ends is one of the enigmatic subtitles that Ezzy has been publishing for weeks. This is where things get even messier because a third party, posing as an intern on the interview production team, posted a thread on X, formerly Twitter, with purported behind-the-scenes moments. In one post, they say Remy had second thoughts about doing the interview at all because she was trembling before the cameras rolled, pacing back and forth and muttering that they weren't prepared for the truth. However, once those lights came on, she changed into the composed and clear version of Remy Ma that we now know. Joe, who is typically her biggest fan, posted a video saying, "Love is love, but respect is everything." Some things don't need to be said. This is burnt into the public record, not the warrior poet. Not the resilient wife, but the woman who left her husband and her reputation. Industry reactions are flooding in. A tweet that read, "Loyalty doesn't mean suffering. Stop judging." Her "like she owed y'all silence" was liked even by Cardi B, who has always been outspoken about her own troubled love life. What comes next? Based on production emails that were hacked, the documents that this interview was a part of are still scheduled for release next quarter. That episode titles like Queen Without a Throne and Unspoken Rooms. According to sources, Papoose declined to participate after learning the tone. At first, he thought the documentary would highlight their legacy as a family documentary. But after seeing the footage, he completely backed out. He hasn't approved any joint footage, so producers may blur his face in older clips or remove them completely. Now, sponsors are circling streaming services, podcast networks, and magazine covers, all vying for a piece of Remy's broken crown because, whether they like it or not, she has become the story, not just a rapper, not just a wife, but the woman, who we've never seen Remy Ma like this before. But just when we thought it was over, another message leaked. This time, it wasn't a clip UT. A shaky recording offhat sounds like a heated argument between Remy and someone with a familiar voice. And in it, we hear her say, "If I wanted to embarrass you, I would have said more." Fans are left feeling torn between admiration and outrage. That voicemail was the voicemail made it painfully clear that the leaked interview wasn't the full story. It was just the surface, a preview of something deeper, more humiliating, and possibly irreversible. What exactly didn't she say? Fans were already going crazy over what she did reveal, and now this in the voicemail quickly made it clear. The match that set an already flaming circus on fire begins muffled. The wind in the background sounds like a parking lot. And Remy Ma's voice is sharp as ever, and you think, "I told them everything, Pap." Went viral on X, and Remy doesn't yell or cry instead. Her tone is cold, confident, and calculated. She continues, saying, "I spared you because I respected what we had. Don't push me to take that back." Social media went into full Armageddon with one user writing, "What we heard was her being nice. Imagine what's in the vault." Another user wrote, "Remy's playing chess while Papoose just realized he's not even on the board." It's usual. People dug through old texts and live stream footage. And a 2020 interview surfaced. Papoose said, "Sometimes I feel like I love harder than she does." Fans initially rejected it, but now it's being reenacted with new context because what if Pap had known all along? A Tap had known all along while she had already moved out mentally. What's more unsettling, though? It's a theory that Remy was secretly recording conversations and private moments for months in order to prepare for a public pivot. This is similar to how brands prepare for a new phase and a new image, not as Mrs. Mackey, but as Remy the Untamed. Insiders now assert that there are even diary voice notes that may reveal personal reflections, purportedly recorded on her phone, where she talks openly about being trapped. If these notes are accurate, they would change the public's perception of her once more, portraying her as a woman who finally reclaims her story rather than a villain. However, not everyone is persuaded. In fact, Papoose's inner circle has begun to quietly but firmly push back, with an alleged cousin going live and claiming that Pap held her down when no one else would. She broke that man in 1,000 ways and called it healing. Ree's longtime friend, a former stylist, hinted that some truths only surfaced when people want to sell something. As a result, the question is now more than just betrayal or bedroom tea. It's about trust and what happens when personal in the meantime. Papoose was finally spotted alone at a quiet cafe in Harlem wearing a hoodie and headphones. A fan tried to greet him, but he nodded, said nothing, and continued walking. The footage made it to TikTok with a caption that showed the heartbreak in his breathing. No statement, no press, just silence until today, when he posted a simple black square with the caption, "Sometimes silence is dignity." Support poured in from celebrities who liked it, and the comment sections transformed into virtual hug circles because people weren't just angry at this point. Remy and Papoose were grieving together over the image of love that felt so uncommon, so sacred, and so untouchable. But Remy doubled down less than 2 hours later. She posted a mirror selfie with the caption, "Unapologetic, untouched, unbothered." Number ring? No mention of Pap. Just a woman in full control of the fallout she created. And easy, he popped up again. A brief clip from a freestyle session that leaked grainy footage from a studio where he spits, "I ain't break up no home. It was already vacant / I just walked through the ruins, kissed her pain, and then I claimed it online." Shook. Others began to wonder, was this all orchestrated? A love triangle rollout? A doxer soft launch? Or a marketing strategy disguised as heartbreak because, let's not forget, Remy recently trademarked Untamed Queen. According to sources, she is working on a book, a podcast, and yes, even a stage play based on her journey through self-discovery, sacrifice, and silence. The first preview event is set for next month. But if you thought this was the end, wait, new documents were just filed in a New York civil court, sealed under the heading of emotional defamation and reputational damage. And guess who's listed? As plaintiff. Confirmed, this could be the beginning of a legal battle. The Remy Papoose love story, once immortalized in bars and vows, is now lying in ruins, broadcasted for millions of people. And somehow the man in the middle walked away with the cleanest slate tour, did he? Rumor has it that an old flame of Easy's is now getting ready to speak out, claims of overlap conflicting timelines. And one cryptic tweet from a verified, it seems as though the next chapter is already being written by an account that only states, she wasn't the only queen he was entertaining. When someone chooses to set their entire life on fire and walk through the ashes like a runway, Remy isn't just walking, she's strutting. However, as the smoke clears and the headlines fade, we're all left wondering if it was worth it or if she won the war and lost the one man who truly believed in her. So now that the microphone has been dropped, the truth bombs detonated, and the internet is left in stunned silence. What comes next is the world is watching every move as if it were the last episode of the messiest reality show we could have. Never